The Mindset Shift Presents. Audiobook Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. This book abstract is intended to provide just a glimpse of this wonderful book with the hope that you may like to read the original book at leisure and enjoy its real beauty. A psychologist says that he sees so much misery even in healthy and successful people. The pain and misery is often unnecessary and finally end when people take charge of their beliefs, feelings, and actions in order to modify the process of their lives. Deep within man dwell those slumbering powers that would astonish him, that he never dreamt of possessing, forces that would revolutionize his life if aroused and put into action. Part 1: Unleash Your Power. Chapter 1: Dreams of Destiny. We all have dreams. We all have a vision for the quality of life that we desire and deserve. I made a decision to change virtually every aspect of my life. I decided I would never again settle for less than I could be. I learned to harness concentration of power. Controlled focus is like a laser beam. One of life's major lessons is learning to understand what makes us do what we do. My magnificent obsession began with some questions. How can I take immediate control of my life? What can I do today that can make a difference that could help me and others to shape our destinies? I truly believe we all have a sleeping giant within us. The ideas and strategies in this book help you produce specific, measurable, long-lasting changes in yourself and others. How to create a lasting change. For changes to be of any value, they have got to be lasting and consistent. I'd like to share with you 3 elementary principles of change that you and I can use immediately to change our lives. While these principles are simple, they are also extremely powerful when they are skillfully applied. Step 1: Raise your standards. Most important thing is changing what I demand of myself. Step 2: Change your limiting beliefs. Our beliefs are like unquestioned commands, telling us how things are, what's possible and what's impossible. They shape every action, every thought, and every feeling that we experience. Empowering beliefs. This sense of certainty is the force behind any great success throughout history. Step 3: Change your strategy. If you set a higher standard, and you can believe, then you can certainly figure out strategies. You simply will find a way. The best strategy in almost any case is to find a role model, someone who is already getting the results that you want, and tap into their knowledge. Learn what they're doing, what their core beliefs are, and how they think. Not only will this make you more effective, it will save you a huge amount of time because you won't have to reinvent the wheel. Knowing is not enough. You must take action. 1. Emotional mastery. Mastering this alone will take you most of the way to master the other 4. Virtually everything we do is to change the way we feel. You will discover what makes you do what you do, and the triggers for the emotions you experience most often. You will then be given step-by-step plan to show how to identify which emotions are empowering, which are disempowering, and how to use both to your best advantage. 2. Physical mastery. 3. Relationship mastery. 4. Financial mastery. 5. Time mastery. I do not have all the answers. I had my share of challenges. I have managed to learn, persist, and continually succeed throughout the years. My level of mastery continues to expand. Grab hold of the things you think are useful, put them in action immediately. You won't have to implement all of the strategies or use all of the tools in this book to make some major changes. All have life-changing potential individually. Used together, however, they will produce explosive results. The focus of this book is on creating global changes. There are key leverage points within your life that, if you make one small change, will literally transform every aspect of your life. In this book you will learn a series of simple and specific strategies for addressing the cause of any challenge and changing it with the least amount of effort. Chapter 2, Decisions, the Pathway to Power. Ask yourself, how am I going to live the next 10 years of my life? How am I going to live today in order to create the tomorrow I'm committed to? What am I going to stand for from now on? The most powerful way to shape our lives is to take action. Different actions produce different results. Take control of consistent actions. Decisions precede actions. In your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. It's our decisions, not conditions of our lives, that determine our destiny. There is a difference in being interested in something and in being committed to something. You also have to decide the kind of person that you are committed to becoming. If you don't set a baseline standard for what you will accept in your life, you will find it easy to slip into behaviors and attitudes or quality of life that is far below what you deserve. Excuses are destructive belief systems. If you truly decide to, you can do almost anything. Your life changes the moment you make a new, congruent, and committed decision. The most exciting thing about this force is that you already possess it. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then the providence moves, too. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Making a true decision means committing to achieving a result, then cutting yourself off from any other possibility. The way to make better decisions is to make more of them. Then learn from each one. Information is power when it's acted upon. Repetition is mother of skill. The 3 decisions that control your destiny are: 1. What to focus on. 2. What things mean to you. 3. What to do to create the results you desire. Your brain has already unconsciously constructed an internal system for making decisions. This is through parents, society, and media. This system comprises of 5 components. 1. Core beliefs. 2. Life values. 3. References. 4. Habitual questions that you ask yourself. 5. Emotional states you experience. By changing any one of the 5 elements, you can produce a powerful and measurable change in your life. Throughout this book, step by step, I'll be guiding you in discovering how your master system of decision making is set up, and you will be making simple changes to make it consistent with your desires. I am not discouraged, because every wrong attempt discarded is another step forward. Edison. Remember, success truly is the result of good judgment. Good judgment is the result of experience, and experience is often the result of bad judgment. Remember that there are no failures in life. There are only results. We will either find a way, or make one. Hannibal. One of the most important decisions is to decide to use whatever life gives you in the moment. The truth is that there is nothing you can't accomplish if 1. You clearly decide what you are absolutely committed to achieving. 2. You are willing to take massive action? 3. You notice what's working or not. 4. You continue to change your approach until you achieve what you want. In order to succeed, you must have long-term focus. Chapter 3, The Force That Shapes Your Life. Everything you and I do, we do either out of our need to avoid pain or our desire to gain pleasure. Procrastination happens when you believe that taking action in this moment would be more painful than just putting it off. However, at some stage putting something off for so long becomes so much painful than taking immediate action. There is an emotional threshold before action can be taken. What you link pain to and what you link pleasure to shapes your destiny. If we link massive pain to any behavior or emotional pattern, we will avoid indulging in it at all costs. We can use this understanding to harness the force of pain and pleasure to change virtually anything in our lives. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but your own estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. What drives our behavior is an instinctive reaction to pain and pleasure, not intellectual calculation. It's our neuro-associations we have established in our nervous systems that determine what we will do. In most cases, our emotions, the sensations that we link to our thoughts, are what truly drive us. We will have solved the problem for the moment, but if we haven't eliminated the cause of the problem, it will resurface. The truth is that we can learn to condition our minds, bodies, and emotions to link pain or pleasure to whatever we choose. By changing what we link pain and pleasure to, we will instantly change our behaviors. Anytime we're in intense emotional state, when we're feeling strong sensations of pain or pleasure, anything unique that occurs consistently will become neurologically linked. People do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. The negative things attract more attention than the positive ones. In order to take control of our lives, simply link pain to the behaviors we want to stop at such high level of emotional intensity that we won't even consider those behaviors any longer. Link pleasure to the new behavior you desire for yourself. First step in creating a change is becoming aware of the power of pain and pleasure exert over every decision, and therefore every action, that we take. The art of being aware is understanding that these linkages between ideas, words, images, sounds, and sensations of pain and pleasure are happening constantly. The problem is that most of us base our decisions about what to do on what's going to create pain or pleasure in the short term instead of the long term. Remember too that it's not actual pain that drives us, but the fear that something will lead to pain. And it's not actual pleasure that drives us, but our belief, our sense of certainty that somehow taking a certain action will lead to pleasure. We are not driven by reality but by our perception of reality. Remember, anything valuable that you want requires you to break through some short-term pain in order to gain long-term pleasure. How do you break through the discomfort and create the momentum to really accomplish your aims? Start by making the decision to overcome it. Follow it up by conditioning ourselves. Remember, anything valuable that you want requires you to break through some short-term pain in order to gain long-term pleasure. How do you break through the discomfort and create the momentum to really accomplish your aims? Start by making the decision to overcome it. Follow it up by conditioning ourselves. Why do people persist in an unsatisfying relationship, unwilling either to work toward solutions or end it and move on? It's because they know changing will lead to the unknown, and most people believe that the unknown will be much more painful than what they are already experiencing. We must transform fear into power. Remember, we don't move away from real pain, we move away from what we believe will lead to pain. Let's make some changes right now. First, write down 4 actions that you need to take that you have been putting off. Second, under each action write down the answer to the following questions: why haven't I taken action? In the past, what pain have I linked to taking this action? Third, write down all the pleasure you've had in the past by indulging in this negative pattern. Fourth, write down what it will cost you if you don't change now. The final step is to write down all the pleasure you will receive by taking each of these actions right now. Make a huge list that will drive you automatically, that will get you excited, feeling in control of life, self-confidence, willpower. Chapter 4, Belief Systems, the Power to Create and the Power to Destroy. It's not the events of our lives that shape us, but our beliefs as to what those events mean. One woman at 70 decides to start winding up, while the other at the same age decides that mountain climbing is a good sport to get into. Beliefs are designed to be a guiding force to tell us what will lead to pain and what will lead to pleasure. When anything happens in our life, the brain asks 2 questions: will it lead to pain or pleasure? What must I do to avoid pain and or gain pleasure? Beliefs are driven by generalizations about our past experiences of pain/pleasure. Enough references provide a sense of certainty. Unfortunately, generalizations in more complex areas can oversimplify and sometimes can create limiting beliefs. Beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecy. The challenge with beliefs is that they become limitations for future actions about who you are and what you are capable of. The challenge is threefold. 1. Most of us do not consciously decide what we're going to believe. 2. Often our beliefs are based on misinterpretation of past experiences. 3. Once we adopt a belief, we forget that it's merely an interpretation and not a reality. We often give credit to the drug, when in reality it's the patient's belief that makes a difference. In one research on 2 groups of medical students, one group was told it will be given super-stimulant drug, and the other a super tranquilizer. However, unknown to the students, the drugs were switched. Surprisingly, half of the students developed reactions as per expectations of what they believed rather than the actual drug. Dr. Beecher stated, "A drug's usefulness is a direct result of not only the chemical properties of the drug, but also the patient's belief in the usefulness and effectiveness of the drug." Drugs are not always necessary, but belief in recovery always is. Norman Cousins. Beliefs have the capacity to make us sick or make us healthy in a moment. Global beliefs are the giant beliefs we have about everything in our lives. The good news is that making one change in a limiting global belief can virtually change every aspect of your life. How do we turn an idea into a belief? Find out enough experiences in the life to back it up. These make beliefs certain. What matters is which belief is most empowering and disempowering. These are based on personal experiences or that of others, books, movies, and so on. The emotional intensity of these references definitely affects the strength and width of the leg of table. The number of references also affect the same. The references do not have to be accurate. These can be real or imaginary and can be distorted by our own personal perspective. Hence, the references can be unlimited. The downside is that we don't even question them. We have the ability to use imagined references to propel us in the direction of our dreams. People can succeed if they imagine something vividly enough, just as easily as if they had actual experiences. With enough emotional intensity and repetition, our nervous systems experience something as real, even if it hasn't occurred yet. Bill Gates promised a company basic software even when he didn't have it. Once he committed, he had to find a way. Great leaders like Gandhi are never realistic, they are intelligent. If you have to err in life, err on the side of overestimating your capability. Optimists may not have any references for success, but they use faith to generate them. If you develop the absolute sense of certainty that powerful beliefs provide, then you can get yourself to accomplish virtually anything. Including those things that other people are certain are impossible. One of the biggest challenges in anyone's life is knowing how to interpret failures. How we deal with adversity and challenges will shape our lives more than almost anything else. Dr. Seligman calls 3 categories: permanence, pervasiveness, and personal for learned hopelessness, which can destroy every aspect of our lives. The solution to both permanence and pervasiveness is to see something you can take control of in your life, and begin to take action in that direction. See failure as a challenge to modify our approach, rather than a problem with ourselves. It is the mind that maketh good of ill, that maketh wretch or happy, rich or poor. Edmund Spencer. How to change a belief. All personal breakthroughs begin with a change in beliefs. The most effective way is to associate massive pain to the old belief. Then associate tremendous pleasure with the idea of adopting a new, empowering belief. Secondly, create doubt about disempowering belief. New experiences trigger change only if they cause us to question our beliefs. If you question anything enough, eventually you'll begin to doubt it. Beliefs can be classified into 3 categories: opinions, beliefs, and conviction. The certainty of the opinion is temporary, whereas we are far more certain with the belief. With conviction, we have an emotional intensity in belief. The convictions are formed by emotional events. Convictions create passion and compel us to act. So, how do you create a conviction? 1. Start with the basic belief. 2. Reinforce it by adding new and more powerful references. 3. Then find a triggering event, or else create one on your own. Ask questions that create emotional intensity. Pain is the ultimate tool for shifting belief. The way to expand our lives is to model the lives of those people who are already succeeding. A book, Meetings with Remarkable Men, shaped my life. Dr. Deming taught Japanese in 1950s constant, never-ending commitment to consistently increase the quality of their business every single day. Quality is a process of never-ending improvement. He taught Ford employees that quality always costs less. In Japan, Kaizen means constant improvement. It is based upon the principle of gradual, simple improvements. The compounding effect of this can be enormous. The only true security in life comes from knowing that every single day you are improving yourself in some way. At the end of every day, I ask myself these questions: what have I learned today? What did I contribute or improve? What did I enjoy? Small improvements are believable and therefore achievable. Begin to brainstorm all the beliefs you have, both empowering and disempowering. In next 10 minutes jot down as many beliefs as you can. Then we will see how to strengthen the empowering ones and remove disempowering ones. Take a moment to review both lists. Decide upon and circle the 3 most empowering beliefs in your list. How do they empower you? How do they strengthen your life? I had a belief there's always a way to turn things around if I am committed. I decided to turn it into conviction. It helped me in my worst phase of life. I could turn biggest challenges into biggest opportunities. Review your list and add emotional intensity and a sense of certainty. Now look at the list of disempowering beliefs. Decide right now, once and for all, that you are going to remove them. Doubt them and question their validity? Then write down replacements for the 2 limiting beliefs you have just eliminated. If you are not getting results that you want, ask yourself, what would I have to believe in order to succeed here? Or who is already succeeding in this area, and what do they believe differently than I do for what is possible? Realize, believe, and trust that if you change the meaning of any event in your mind, your feelings will immediately change, and lead to change of actions and transform your destiny. Remember, nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning you give it. Marva Collins was passionate about helping dyslexics. She believed that the problem was not the children, but the way they were taught. They were not challenged enough. The most important lesson she taught me is that society may predict, but only I will determine my destiny. Chapter 5, Change can happen in an instant. And tools like Ericksonian hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming which can make changes in people's lives with lightning speed. I learned how to eliminate lifetime phobia in less than an hour. All changes are created in a moment. It's just that most of us wait until certain things happen before we finally decide to make a shift. I believed that if I challenged myself and the people I worked with enough, I could find a way to turn virtually anything around. Most people have tried again and again through willpower to make changes and have failed. The assumption they make is that important changes must take a long time and be very difficult to make. It's only difficult because most of us don't know how to change. Out of my desire to help people at the deepest level, I'd made the mistake of taking responsibility for other people's changes. The metaphor for long-term change is conditioning. Like the strings of a musical instrument have to be retightened on a continuous basis, we also need effect a change and reinforce it immediately. Then, we have to condition our nervous systems to succeed not just once, but consistently. Science of Neuro-Associative Conditioning, NAC. It is a step-by-step process that can condition your nervous system to associate pleasure to those things you need to continuously move toward, and pain to those things you need to avoid in order to succeed consistently in your life without constant effort or willpower. Things do not change, we change. Henry David Thoreau. The 2 changes everyone wants in life are how we feel about things or our behaviors. The first belief we must have if we're going to create change quickly is that we can change now. After all, if you can create a problem in a moment, you should be able to create a solution, too. Usually, it's getting ready to change that takes time. The second belief that we must have if we are going to create long-term change is that we're responsible for our change, not anyone else. In fact, there are 3 specific beliefs about responsibility that a person must have if they are going to create a long-term change. 1. First, we must believe Something must change, not should / could / ought. 2. We must believe, I must change it. 3. We have to believe, I can change it. You have to be source of your change. The power of your brain. Each time we experience a significant amount of pain or pleasure, our brains search for the cause and record it in our nervous systems to enable us to make better decisions about what to do in the future. The Neuro-Association is a biological reality, it's physical. This is why thinking our way into change is usually ineffective. Our neuro-associations are a survival tool. And they are secured in our nervous systems as physical connections rather than as intangible memories. Repetition of any pattern of behavior makes it stronger. This is good news. If you just stop indulging in a particular behavior or emotion long enough, the neural connection will weaken and atrophy. Remember, courage, unused, diminishes. Commitment, unexercised, wanes. Love, unshared, dissipates. It is not good enough to have a good mind, the main thing is to use it well. René Descartes. Anytime you experience significant amount of pain or pleasure, your brain immediately searches for the cause. It uses the following 3 criteria. 1. Your brain looks for something that appears to be unique. 2. Your brain looks for something that seems to be happening simultaneously. 3. Your brain looks for consistency. Chapter 6, How to Change Anything in Your Life, The Science of Neuro-Associative Conditioning. Master Step 1, Decide what you really want and what's preventing you from having it now. Master Step 2, Get leverage, associate massive pain to not changing now and massive pleasure to the experience of changing now. Change is not a question of capability, it's almost a question of motivation. The only way we're going to make a change now is if we create a sense of urgency that's so intense that we are compelled to follow through. 20% of any change is knowing how, but 80% is knowing why. If we gather a set of strong enough reasons to change, we can change in a minute. Give me a lever long enough and a prop strong enough. I can single-handedly move the world. Archimedes. The greatest leverage you can create for yourself is the pain that comes from inside, not outside. Knowing that you have failed to live up to your own standards for your life is the ultimate pain. One of the strongest forces in human personality is the drive to preserve the integrity of our own identity. If you try to exert only external pressure, they'll push against it, but internal pressure is next to impossible to resist. So why would someone not change when they feel and know they should? They associate more pain to making the change than to not changing. To change, we must make the idea of not changing extremely painful, and the idea of changing attractive and pleasurable. To get true leverage, ask yourself pain-inducing questions. What will this cost me if I don't change? Ultimately, what will I miss out in my life if I don't make the shift? What is it already costing me mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually? Make the pain of not changing feel so real, so intense, so immediate that you can't put off taking that action any longer. If that's not enough, then focus on how it affects your loved ones. Many of us will do more for others than we'll do for ourselves. The second step is to use pleasure associating questions to the idea of changing. If I do change, how will that make me feel about myself? How will my loved ones feel? The key is to get lots of strong enough reasons why the change should take place immediately. Master Step 3. Interrupt the limiting pattern. The resources you need to change anything in your life are within you right now. Have you seen a fly trapped in a room? It immediately moves towards light from the window, smacking against the glass for hours. Many of us do the same. All the motivation will not help you get out of a closed window. You have got to change your approach. The fly stands a chance if it backs off and looks around for another exit. Do something totally unexpected to interrupt a pattern. See the situation in your mind that was bothering you so much. Take that same experience and turn it into a cartoon. Review that situation and see how you feel now. Master Step 4. Create a new empowering alternative. This step is most critical to establishing long-term change. In fact, the failure by most people to find an alternative way of getting out of pain and into feelings of pleasure is the major reason most people's attempts to change are temporary. If you are not sure how to do it, you can find answers by modeling people who have turned things around themselves. Master Step 5. Condition the new pattern until it's consistent. Conditioning makes sure change is long-term. Use emotional intensity for the empowering alternative, and repetition with emotion makes it a new habit. Remember, your brain can't tell the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you actually experience. The next step is to set up a schedule to reinforce your new behavior. Reward yourself every day for incremental improvements. There is nothing that training cannot do. Nothing is above its reach. It can turn bad morals to good, it can destroy bad principles and recreate good ones, it can lift men to angelship. Mark Twain. The law of enforcement. Any pattern of emotion or behavior that is continually reinforced will become an automatic and conditioned response. Anything we fail to reinforce will dissipate. Reinforcement is responding to a behavior immediately after it occurs, while punishment and reward may occur long afterward. Good and evil, reward and punishment, are the only motives to a rational creature. These are the spur and reins whereby all mankind are set on work, and guided. John Locke. Schedule your reinforcement so change lasts. An element of surprise is important. Hence, variable, unpredictable schedule and even degree of reward is important. Create a jumpstart. If someone who has not done anything right is suddenly given a reward, just out of compassion and caring, this can stimulate them to do well. Chapter 7. How to get what you really want. Elvis Presley preferred to be drugged and numb to being conscious and miserable. Many famous persons believed that someday, somehow they will be happy and got disillusioned. Most of the people don't know what they want in life. They developed neurological expressways to pain. They didn't know how to make themselves feel good. They never learned the nuts and bolts of how to consciously direct the focus of their own minds. What do you want? Whatever you desire or crave, ask yourself, why do I want these things? What it all comes down to is the fact that you want these things or results because you see them as a means to achieving certain feelings, emotions, or states that you desire. All emotions are biochemical storms in our brain. But first we must learn how to take control of them consciously instead of living in reaction. Sometimes, we don't remember something important. Is it because you are stupid? No, it's because you are in a stupid state. The difference between acting badly or brilliantly is not based on your ability, but on the state of your mind and or body in a given moment. Your behavior is not the result of your ability, but of the state that you are in at the moment. To change your ability, change your state. To open up the multitude of resources that lie within you, put yourself in a state of resourcefulness and active expectancy. There are two ways to change your emotional state: by changing the way you use your physical body, or by changing your focus. Physiology, the power of movement. Emotion is created by motion. Everything that we feel is a result of how we use our bodies. Even the most minute changes in our facial expressions or gestures will shift the way that we're feeling in any moment, and the way we evaluate our lives, the way we think, and the way we act. Every emotion that you ever feel has a specific physiology linked to it: posture, breathing, patterns of movement, facial expressions. Once you learn how to use your body when in certain emotional states, you can return to those states or avoid them, simply by changing your physiology. Types of common emotions: stress, frustration, anger, insecurity, loneliness, bored, miserable, happy, relieved, loved, excited, joyous. Some more interesting emotions are enthusiasm, fascination, cheerfulness, playfulness, gratitude, curiosity, creativity, confidence, boldness, kindness, humor. You can experience any of these by just using your body. You can feel strong, you can smile, you can change anything in an instant just by laughing. Wake your body up, learn to put it in pleasurable states consistently no matter what's happened. Create energy by the way you think of something over and over again, and you'll change the sensations you link to that situation in the future. If you walk around like you are tired, you will feel tired. Your body leads your emotions. The emotional state you are in affects your body, and it becomes an endless loop. You can do the following to change your state and how you feel and perform. Take deep breaths through nose and exhale strongly through mouth. Put a huge grin on your face and smile at children. If you really want to change your life, commit for the next 7 days to spending 1 minute, 5 times a day, grinning from ear to ear in the mirror. This creates a happy habit. Better yet, go out for a skip instead of a jog. It's fun. Learn to laugh. Along with 5 smiles a day, make yourself laugh for no reason at all, 3 times each day for 7 days. 82% people see movies to laugh. We know too much and feel too little. At least we feel too little of those creative emotions from which a good life springs. Bertrand Russell. The real key in life is to be able to make yourself feel good when you don't feel good, or when you don't even want to feel good. Know that you can do this instantaneously by using your body as a tool to change state. Some people get inspiration when doing something physical. The key to success, then, is to create patterns of movement that create confidence, a sense of strength, flexibility, a sense of personal power, and fun. Stagnation comes from lack of movement. Getting old is not a matter of age, it's a lack of movement. You don't have to have a reason to feel good you are alive, you can feel good for no reason at all. Focus, the power of concentration. If you wanted to, couldn't you get depressed at a notice by just focusing on something horrible in the past? Have you ever gone for an awful movie? Would you go back to see that movie 100 times? Then why do we do it bad past? You can feel bad about missing things in life or even things which have not happened yet. Just as easily, you could focus on a time when you were in absolute total ecstasy. Focus on how your body felt. Picture every vivid detail associated with those feelings. Then you could feel ecstasy again at will. You could focus on things you are ecstatic about in your life right now. You could also feel good about things that have not happened yet. Whatever we focus on becomes our idea of reality. The truth is that very few things are absolute. Focus is not a new reality, because it's one view, it's only a perception of the way things are. It's like a camera lens which shows what we focus on. It can also blur important parts of our reality if manipulated expertly. Meaning is often a matter of focus. Focus on where you want to go, not on what you fear. Focusing on solution is always to your benefit. A mind out of control will play tricks on you. Directed, it's your greatest friend. Ask and you will receive. Seek and you will find, knock, and it will be open to you. Matthew 7:7. The most powerful way to control focus is through the use of questions. For whatever you ask, your brain provides an answer. If you ask, why this person takes advantage of me? You are asking a disempowering question. If you ask, how can I turn this around? You are asking an empowering question. Questions are such powerful tool for changing your life. These provide key to unlocking our unlimited potential. It's not only what you focus on but how. For some, visual system is dominant. For others, auditory system is dominant. For others, feelings are important. The description of expressions vary accordingly. Change your states and you change your life. You have got to be in a determined state in order to succeed. Since movement can instantly change how you feel, it makes sense for us to create lots of ways to change our state with one, singular movement in an instant. Experience is not what happens to a man, it is what a man does with what happens to him. Aldous Huxley. My definition of success is to live your life in a way that causes you to feel tons of pleasure and very little pain. Write down 15 things that you currently do to change how you feel. If you don't have a plan for pleasure, you will have pain. Chapter 8. Questions are the answer. Our questions determine our thoughts. Thinking is nothing but a way of asking and answering questions. Quality questions create quality life. Successful people asked better questions and got better answers. Questions set off a processional effect that has an impact beyond our imagination. Questioning our limitations is what rears down the walls in life. I believe all human progress is preceded by new questions. The difference in people is the difference in questions they ask consistently. Questions determine everything in your life: abilities, relationships, income. Ask right questions and avoid asking wrong questions. Both are important. Ask simple but powerful questions. How questions work. Questions immediately change what you are focusing on and therefore how you feel. Ask questions. What am I happy about right now? What could I be happy about if I wanted to be? What's really great in my life right now? The challenge is that most of us are on autopilot mode. Learning to ask empowering questions is a critical skill. Model the habitual questions of people I really respect. Walt Disney would write a question for his group: how can we improve this? People would come and write suggestions. Ask yourself right now: what are you truly happy about in your life right now? What are you truly grateful for? Questions change what we delete. Brain needs to delete huge information it doesn't think is important. If you feel sad, it is because you are deleting all the reasons you could be feeling good about. Questions change the resources available to us. After a huge financial setback, I asked, how can I turn my company around, take it to the next level and cause it to have even more impact than that in the past? I did not get immediate answer. I expanded the question to how can I add even more value and help more people even while I sleep? I got the idea of franchise. Ford ex-president asked a management person whether he liked the car being produced. When the answer was no, he asked him, why don't you give up management and design a car you would love? That created a profitable design. Problem-solving questions. 1. What is great about this problem? 2. What is not perfect yet? 3. What am I willing to do to make it the way I want it? 4. What am I willing to no longer do in order to make it the way I want it? 5. How can I enjoy the process while I do what is necessary to make it the way I want it? The Morning Power Questions. The following questions are designed to cause you to experience more happiness, excitement, pride, gratitude, joy, commitment, and love every day of your life. Come up with 2 to 3 answers to all these questions and feel them. If you have difficulty in answering these questions, add the word could. 1. What am I happy about life right now? 2. What am I excited about my life right now? 3. What am I proud about in my life right now? 4. What am I grateful about in my life right now? 5. What am I enjoying in my life right now? 6. What am I committed to in my life right now? 7. Who do I love? Who loves me? The Evening Power Questions. 1. What have I given today? 2. What did I learn today? 3. How has today added to the quality of my life, or how can I use today as an investment for future? You can use these questions even when you have a setback or are feeling depressed. 2 of my favorite questions about challenges are, what's great about this? And how can I use this? Some of the most important questions we'll ask in our lives are, what is my life really about? What am I really committed to? Why I am here? And who am I? At some point you must stop asking questions and start doing. Chapter 9, The Vocabulary of Ultimate Success. A powerful agent is the right word. Whenever we come upon one of those intensely right words, the resulting effect is physical as well as spiritual, and electrically prompt. Mark Twain. Words can make us laugh and cry. They can wound or heal. They offer hope or devastation. Realize the power that your words command if you simply choose them wisely. The words you habitually choose also affect how you communicate with yourself and therefore what you experience. People with rich vocabulary lead rich lives. Simply by changing your habitual vocabulary, the words you consistently use to describe the emotions of your life, you can instantaneously change how you think, how you feel, and how you live. You can use furious, angry, upset, and annoyed to describe your emotion, but each produces different effects. This is the essence of transformational vocabulary, The words that we attach to our experience become our experience. By adopting someone else's vocabulary, you begin to adopt their emotional patterns as well. The words you use consistently will shape your destiny. If words you are using is creating disempowering states, get rid of them and replace them with words which empower you. If all you do is change the word, then the experience does not change. But by breaking your own habitual emotional pattern, everything changes. You can use modifiers to soften negative emotional intensity. Instead of saying you feel depressed, say that you are frustrated or feeling a little bit down. Likewise, instead of saying I'm suicidal, use I am angry/frustrated. Take a moment right now, and identify 3 words you regularly use to make yourself feel lousy and disempowered. Next, brainstorm to identify words that break your pattern or lower emotional intensity in some way. You can also use transformational vocabulary to powerfully enhance our experience of positive emotions. When someone asks how you are doing, instead of saying okay, or good, say with feeling. I feel spectacular. In short, replace good word with a great word. Words can produce illness, words can kill. Likewise, it can heal and save life. Chapter 10, Destroy the Blocks, Break Down the Wall, The Power of Metaphors. Whenever we explain a concept by likening it to something else, we use a metaphor. If you are asked don't think of color blue, you are going to see only blue. This illustrates that whatever you think about you'll feel. Often you're using metaphors that intensify your negative feelings. We must take charge of our metaphors and adopt the empowering metaphors. If you're feeling a weight on your shoulders, learn to put it down and relax. If you feel like you are in dark, just switch the lights on. The metaphors we use is based on our programming. Chapter 11, The 10 Emotions of Power. There are 4 ways in which people deal with emotion. 1. Avoidance of painful emotions. And ultimately, you can't avoid feeling. 2. Denial. If the message your emotions are trying to deliver is ignored, the emotions simply increase their amperage, they intensify until you finally pay attention. 3. Competition. They intensify it and make it even worse than it is. 4. Learning and using. You must make emotions work for you. The emotions you once thought as negative are merely a call to action. Realize that the emotions you are feeling are a gift, a guideline, a support system, a call to action. It's a precious resource. You are the source of all your emotions. I'm here to tell you that you can feel any way you choose at any moment of time. If a train whistle irritates you, decide to have fun when it does. You don't need any special reason to feel good, you can just decide to feel good right now, simply because you are alive, simply because you want to. What is the message of these action signals? They're telling you that what you are currently doing is not working, that the reason you have pain is either the way you're perceiving things or the procedures you are using. Specifically, the way you're communicating your needs and desires to people, or the actions you're taking. You have to change your approach. Change physiology or ask better question. 6 Steps to Emotional Mastery. Step 1. Identify what you are really feeling. If you think you are angry, ask is it anger or just some hurt? If you feel rejected, ask whether it is disappointed or uncomfortable. Step 2. Acknowledge and appreciate your emotions, knowing they support you. Like a child needs attention, If pay attention to your emotions without resistance, they calm down almost immediately. Step 3. Get curious about the message this emotion is offering you. It helps you to master the emotion, solve the challenge, and prevent the same problem from occurring in future. When you feel emotion, ask yourself, what do you need to do right now to make things better? Ask following questions. What do I really want to feel? What would I have to believe in order to feel the way I've been feeling? What am I willing to do to create a solution and handle this right now? What can I learn from this? Step 4. Get confident. The quickest, simplest, the most powerful way I know to handle any emotion is to remember a time when you felt a similar emotion and realize that you have successfully handled this emotion before. Step 5. Get certain you can handle this not only today, but in the future as well. Learn what helped in the past and rehearse. Repetition with emotional intensity will create a neural pathway of certainty that you can handle it in future. Step 6. Get excited, and take action. Remember, the best time to handle emotion is when you first begin to feel it. It's much more difficult to interrupt an emotional pattern once it's full-blown. Kill the monster while it's little. The 10 action signals. 1. Discomfort. This emotion is not intense, but warns us something is not right. The message: boredom, impatience, unease, distress, or mild embarrassment. Maybe your perception is off, or actions are not producing desired result. The solution: change state. Clarify what you want. Refine actions with a different approach. If not dealt with, uncomfortable feelings will intensify. Discomfort is painful, but the anticipation of possible emotional pain is much more intense than the discomfort you might feel in a moment. The threat of attack is greater than the attack itself. 2. Fear. Include low level of concern and apprehension to intense worry, anxiety, fright, and even terror. It serves a purpose. The message: be prepared. Prepare to cope with the situation, or do something to change it. Don't surrender, don't amplify, don't ignore. The solution: review what you are fearful about and evaluate what you must do to prepare yourself mentally. Figure out what actions you need to take to deal with the situation in the best possible way. Antidote to fear: decide to have faith. 3. Hurt, usually generated by a sense of loss. The message: unmet expectation. The solution: in reality, you might have not lost anything. Maybe just a case of wrong perception. Reevaluate the situation. Is there real loss? Am I judging too soon, too harshly? Elegantly and appropriately communicate your feelings to other person involved. 4. Anger, includes irritation, anger, resentfulness, furious, enraged. The message: important rule or standard for your life has been violated by others or yourself. Solution: check for possible misinterpretation. Your rule/standard may not be the right one. Ask questions: does this person care about me? Or what can I learn from this? Change perception, change procedure, or change behavior. 5. Frustration. When we continuously put in efforts without rewards. The message: it means your brain believes that you could do better. It is a very positive sign. You need to be flexible and change approach. The solution. Realize it is your friend. Brainstorm for new ways to get result. Get some input on how to deal with the situation. Find a role model, someone who has found a way to get what you want. Get fascinated by what you can learn that could help you handle this challenge not only today, but in future, in a way that consumes little time and energy and creates joy. 6. Disappointment can be very destructive emotion if you don't deal with it quickly. It is a devastating feeling of being let down. The message: change your expectation to make them appropriate for this situation. New goal immediately. The solution. Figure out what you can learn from this situation. Set new goal, more inspiring. You are judging too soon. Challenges are temporary. Develop patience. Develop new goals and plan. Most effective antidote: cultivate an attitude of positive expectancy about what can happen in future. 7. Guilt, regret, remorse are emotions we want to avoid but are valuable. The message: it tells that you have violated one of your highest standard. The solution. Acknowledge. Commit yourself to avoid repetition. 8. Inadequacy. Very often we are unfair with ourselves. The message: skill inadequate for the task on hand. Need more information, understanding, strategies, tools and confidence. The solution. Ask: is this evaluation appropriate? Or is the perception wrong? If it is okay, find out a better way of doing things. Resort to Connie. Find a role model and get coaching. 9. Overload or overwhelm. The message: reevaluate what's most important in this situation. The solution: decide what is the most important thing to focus on. Prioritize them brings feeling of control. Tackle the top priority item on the list. Focus on what you can control. Our self-esteem is tied to our ability to control our environments. When mind has too many intense and simultaneous demands upon us, we will feel overloaded. But we also have the power to change this by focusing on what we can control and dealing with it a step at a time. 10. Loneliness. The message: connect with people. The solution: reach out and connect. There are caring people everywhere. Identify the kind of connection you need. It means I care about people and love to be with them. Take immediate action. The 10 emotions of power. 1. Love and warmth. If you could only love enough, you could be the most powerful person in the world. Emmett Fox. 2. Appreciation and gratitude. All of the most powerful emotions are some expression of love, each directed in different ways. 3. Curiosity. If you want to grow in life, be curious. Kills boredom. Nothing is chore. 4. Excitement and passion. Passion is unbridled power to move our lives forward. We decide to feel it. 5. Determination. With it you can accomplish anything. 6. Flexibility. Ability to change approach guarantees success. Important for being happy. 7. Confidence. 8. Cheerfulness. Enhances self-esteem, makes life fun, makes others happy too. It means you realize that no matter what is happening around you, without it things will not be better. It means you are incredibly intelligent because you know that if you live life in a state of pleasure, one that's so intense that you transmit a sense of joy to those around you, you can have the impact to meet virtually any challenge that comes your way. 9. Vitality. Take care of your body. Rest and recharge. Exercise. 10. Contribution. The secret to living is giving. Cultivate global beliefs that help minimize your experience of negative emotions. Some examples: I can never be abandoned. This too shall pass. Love is the only must in my life, everything else is a should. There is always a way, if I am committed. Every feeling, good or bad, is based on your interpretation of what things mean. Chapter 12. The Magnificent Obsession: Creating a Compelling Future. Only compelling future will provide energy and momentum. If you feel lazy, it's because of impotent goals. Develop bigger, inspiring and challenging goals. If we don't plant the seeds we want in the garden of our minds, we'll end up with weeds. Weeds are automatic. Jim Brown story. Setting goals is the first step in turning invisible into visible, the foundation for all success in life. All goal setting must be immediately followed by both the development of a plan and massive and consistent action toward its fulfillment. In each category of goal setting, give yourself a score 0 to 10, indicating your level of satisfaction regarding how things stand today. Next, against the same categories, describe what you want to achieve 5 years later. The purpose of life is to be always happy and share with others. It's not just getting a goal that matters, but the quality of life you experience along the way. The direction we're heading is more important than individual results. Commitment, persistence are critical in achieving goals. What specific action could I take today that would lead me on that road to the destiny of my choice? Take your first step now. Write down goals in 4 areas. 1. Personal development goals. 2. Career/business/economic goals. 3. Adventure goals. 4. Contribution goals. What would I want in life if I knew I could have it any way I wanted it? Give timeline to each. Write why it is important for you. If you have a big enough why to do something, you could always figure out how. Achieving goals by themselves will never make us happy in the long term. It's who you become that give you the deepest and most lasting sense of fulfillment. The key question to ask is, what kind of person will I have to become in order to achieve all that I want? Write a paragraph describing all the character traits, skills, abilities, attitudes, and beliefs that you would need to develop in order to achieve all the goals you have written. The most important step. Immediately begin to create momentum toward the goal. Evaluate steps you must take. Remember, you need to experience the feeling of achieving your goals at least once every day. Before you reach a goal, you must have a new set of goals. A compelling future is a necessity. You have to have something that gets you out of the bed. Chapter 13, The 10-Day Mental Challenge. Habit is either best of servants or worst of masters. Nathaniel Emmons. This book is dedicated to producing a measurable increase in the quality of our lives. This chapter is designed to assist you in establishing habits of excellence. We must realize that the same pattern of thinking that has gotten us where we are will not get us to where we want to go. To do this, We must once and for all break through the barriers of our fear and take control of the focus of our minds. So let me offer you a simple plan of interrupting your old patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving and condition you to new empowering alternatives. In truth, life is a balance. If we refuse to see the weeds that are taking root in our gardens, our delusions will destroy us. Note the weeds with a smile and immediately act to remove them. They are part of life. Simply remove them in a state of playfulness. They keep you vigorous, strong and vigilant. We need to practice the same with the gardens of our mind. For the next 10 days, beginning immediately, commit to taking full control of all your mental and emotional faculties by deciding right now that you will not indulge in or dwell on any unresourceful thoughts or emotions for 10 consecutive days. Worry tends to become overwhelmed with frustration and fear. Change your worried state immediately by focusing on solution. Ask yourself, what do I need to do right now to make this better? Change describing sensations from worried to a little bit concerned. Remember, our goal is not to ignore the problems of life, but to put ourselves in better mental and emotional states where we can not only come up with solutions, but act upon them. In life, never spend more than 10% of your time on the problem, and spend at least 90% of your time on the solution. We first make our habits, and then our habits make us. John Dryden. Through this mental challenge you will be demanding empowering emotions, enriching thoughts, inspiring questions. The obstacles are laziness, fear and force of habits. Leaders are readers. Years ago, my teacher Jim Rohn taught me that reading something of substance, something of value, was more important than eating. He got me hooked to the idea of reading a minimum of 30 minutes a day. He said, "Miss a meal, but don't miss your reading." I have found this to be one of the most valuable distinctions in my life. Part 2, Taking Control the Master System. Chapter 14, Ultimate Influence, the Master System. People are not their behaviors. We all have a system or procedure that we go through in order to determine what things mean to us and what we need to do about them in virtually any situation in life. Superior evaluations create superior lives. If someone is doing better than we are in any area of life, it's simply because they have a better way of evaluating what things mean and what they should do about it. 1. The first element that affects all your evaluations is the mental and emotional state you're in while making an evaluation. 2. The second building block of our master system is the questions we ask. 3. The third element is the hierarchy of values. 4. The fourth element is beliefs. 5. The fifth element is reference experiences stored in brain. 2 kinds of change. To change our lives, we either change our feelings or behaviors, or we can make a global change. A new belief: I am the source of all my emotions. Nothing and no one can change how I feel except me. If I find myself in reaction to anything, I can change it in a moment. The focus of the second section is how to make these global changes. Where a single shift in one of the 5 elements of the master system will powerfully affect the way you think, feel and behave in multiple areas of your life simultaneously. Chapter 15, Life Values, Your Personal Compass. Courage, determination, perseverance and dedication. A man's character is his guardian divinity. Heraclitus. Values guide our every decision, and therefore, our destiny. In a movie Stand and Deliver, a maverick math teacher transmitted to his students his passion for learning. He got them to associate in their nervous systems, at the deepest level, a sense of pride in their capacity to master those things others were certain they could never learn. His example of commitment translated to these young people the power of values. They learned from him discipline, confidence, the importance of the team, flexibility, and the power of absolute determination. Decide what you value most in life, and then commit to live by them every single day. If you have a tough time making a decision, the reason is lack of clarity about what you value most within that situation. Every time a value is born, existence takes on a new meaning. Every time one dies, some part of that meaning passes away. Joseph Wood Crutch. Direction of our lives is controlled by the magnetic pull of our values. The only way for us to have long-term happiness is to live by our highest ideals. But we can't do this if we don't clearly know what our values are. The biggest tragedy in most people's lives, many people know what they want to have, but have no idea of who they want to be. If you don't know your true values, prepare for pain. We focus on changing behavior rather than dealing with the cause. People don't have a drinking problem, they have a values problem. We feel immense joy when we fulfill and meet our values. The problem is we didn't set up our values. Others influence them. What are values? Life values, two types, ends and means. Out of love, family, money, only the first one is the end value. The other two are means. What we truly value, the ends you're after, are love, security, and happiness. Money allows you to do something deeper. So often people are too busy pursuing means values that they don't achieve their true desire, the end values. Moving toward values. Pleasurable states, love, success, freedom, security, intimacy, security, adventure, power, passion, comfort, health. In truth, we all have a hierarchy of values. Be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. A simple change in the hierarchy of values can instantly change relationship and life. Knowing values of others is also important. Setting up hierarchy of values allows us to meet all of your values every day. We all need to realize that we must accomplish our highest values first. And remember, there is always a way to accomplish all our values simultaneously, and we need to make certain we don't settle for anything less. People don't just pursue pleasure, but they clearly also move away from pain. Moving away from values. Whenever we decide to do something, our brain evaluates whether it can lead to pleasure or pain. The relative levels of pain we associate with certain emotions will affect all our decisions. Some of these emotions are rejection, anger, frustration, loneliness, depression, failure, humiliation, guilt. We also have a hierarchy of moving away from values as well. Which value in the above list would you do the most to avoid having to feel? The source of self-sabotage, value conflicts. If your top moving toward value is success, and your top moving away from value is rejection, will never succeed in the long term. In fact, he will self-sabotage his success. This is because people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. Each of us has value conflicts within us because we never set the system up for ourselves. but we can change using following two-step process. Step 1. Become aware of your current values, both types, to know why you do what you do or don't do. Review both lists by putting them side by side. Step 2. You can then make conscious decisions about what values you want to live by in order to have a quality of life and destiny you deserve. How to discover your current values. Answer a question: what's most important to me in life? Now put your values in order from most important to the least important. My old list was as follows: passion, love, freedom, contribution, being able, growth, achievement, happiness, fun, health, creativity. Change the values, and you change your life. What do my values need to be in order to create my ultimate destiny, in order to be the best person I could possibly be, in order to have the largest impact in my lifetime? What other values would I need to add? I found that being intelligent should not only be included but have high priority to avoid stupid mistakes. What values should I eliminate from my list in order to achieve my ultimate destiny? It was amazing the freedom I felt by getting freedom off my list. Having seen the health suffer in my quest for passion, I realized that it should be high on my list. After more brainstorming, my new list of moving toward values were: health/vitality, love/warmth, intelligence, cheerfulness, honesty, passion, gratefulness, fun, making a difference, learning/growing, achieving, being the best, investing, contribution, creativity. Many of us fear that putting happiness as a higher priority will make us lose drive to achieve more. However, my experience was instead of achieving to be happy, I began to happily achieve. When the priority was right, I felt a sense of calm and certainty. I also began to realize that there were certain emotional states that I must avoid indulging in if I was going to succeed. One of those clearly was worry. Thus, I began to construct a moving away from list. I touch the future, I teach. Anonymous. Put values prominently at work, at home, for others to see and hold them to this new, higher standard. A person in my Date with Destiny program was very reluctant to attend and even see the possibility of changing values priorities. His number one value was freedom. After some prodding, he included flexibility as a value. The moment he did this, his body relaxed for everyone to see. Later he added forgiveness as a value. 3 years later, freedom is not even in his list of values. Chapter 16, Rules. If you are not happy, here's why. Hold yourself responsible for a higher standard than anybody else expects of you. Henry Ward Beecher. Each person responded according to their rules, their beliefs about what had to happen in order for them to feel good about this experience. The problem is that we have become habituated and so much accustomed to the miracles happening around us every day that we don't even see them as miracles anymore. We have specific beliefs or rules that determine when we get pain and when we get pleasure. Failure to understand their power can destroy any possibility of lifelong happiness. The truth is that nothing has to happen in order for you to feel good. You could feel good right now for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Think about it. If you make $1 million, the $1 million don't give you any pleasure. It's your rule that says, when I hit this mark, then I'll give myself permission to feel good. As long as we structure our lives in a way where our happiness is dependent upon something we cannot control, then we experience pain. I redesigned my rules so that when I feel pain and when I feel pleasure is wherever I feel appropriate based on my capacity to direct my own mind, body, and emotions. We decided that our rule that day was that we were going to enjoy this event no matter what happened. To adopt this rule is to raise your standards. Whether or not you feel like you're achieving your values is totally dependent upon your rules. Life is a variable event, so our rules must be organized in ways that allow us to adapt, grow, and enjoy. Judge and jury. What will determine our emotions and behaviors is our beliefs about what is good and what is bad, what we should do and what we must do. These precise standards and criteria are that I have labeled as rules. Our personal rules are the ultimate judge and jury. Everything in our lives, from work to play, is presided over by this judge and jury system. Are the rules that guide your life today still appropriate for who you've become? Rules are a shortcut for our brains. They help us make lightning-quick decisions. It's not that things get muddled so easily. It's that you have more ways for things to get muddled. You have only one way for things to be perfect. Most of us have created numerous ways to feel bad, and only a few ways to truly feel good. One person explained how he feels to be successful anytime. All I have to do is to get up, look down, and see that I am above ground. You could be winning and feel like you are losing because the scorecard you are using is unfair. We certainly want to use the power of goals to pull ourselves forward, but we must make sure that we have rules to allow us to be happy anytime we want. Do your rules empower or disempower you? If I decide to be confident, then I'll feel that way toward anything, and my confidence will help me succeed. Competence is another interesting rule. People have different rules for this. But the best one is, if I have done anything like it, then I know I can master this as well. Set up the game so you can win. Lori had security and freedom as her third and fourth moving toward values. Obviously she was wired for massive pain due to the value contradiction. How do we know whether if a rule empowers or disempowers us? There are three main criteria. 1. It's a disempowering rule if it's impossible to meet. If it is so complex or varied or intense that you can't win, then it is disempowering. 2. It's disempowering if something that you can't control determines whether your rule is met or not. 3. It's disempowering if it gives you only a few ways to feel good and lots of ways to feel bad. The solution: make it easy to feel good and hard to feel bad. Ideally, create a menu of possibilities with lots of ways to feel good. If you feel angry or upset with someone, remember, it's your rules that are upsetting you, not their behavior. The first step is to realize that you have conflicting rules. The second step is to link enough pain to any rule that doesn't serve you, and replace with a rule that does. For quality relationships, communicate your rules clearly to others. There are some rules you cannot break. We have hierarchy of rules. A threshold rule is one which you would never violate due to too much pain associated with it. There are personal standards or should never type of rule which you can break in the short term. Must and must never rules are threshold rules. Rules realignment right now. Begin to take control of your rules by writing down thorough answers to the following questions. 1. What does it take for you to feel successful? 2. What does it take for you to feel loved by whoever is important to you? 3. What does it take for you to feel confident? 4. What does it take for you to feel you are excellent in any area of your life? Now look at these rules and ask yourself, are they appropriate? Have I made it really hard to feel good and easy to feel bad? If that's true, change them and come up with the ones that empower you. Design your rules so that you are in control, so that the outside world is not what determines whether you feel good or bad. Set it up so that it is incredibly easy to feel good, and incredibly hard to feel bad. Examples: I feel love anytime I give love. Anytime I smile at someone new. Anytime I am with people I love. Anytime I notice someone doing something nice to me. The most empowering rule is to enjoy yourself no matter what happens. Chapter 17, References, the Fabric of Life. Man's mind stretched to a new idea never goes back to its original dimensions. Olive Wendell Holmes. The larger the number and greater the quality of our references, the greater our potential level of choices. These enable us to more effectively evaluate what things mean and what we can do. Once again, it's not our references, but our interpretations of them, the way we organize them that clearly determine our beliefs. What are references? References are experiences stored in our brain. The key is to expand the references that are available within your life. Consciously seek out experiences that expand your sense of who you are and what you are capable of, as well as organize your references in empowering ways. You have an inexhaustible supply of references that can be designed any way you wish. One important measure of a person's intelligence is the way in which they use their fabric of references. Do you craft a curtain to hide behind, or do you fashion a magic carpet that will carry you to unequaled heights? Do you consciously dig through your life experiences and pull out those memories that empower you most on a consistent basis? How do you use your references? Do you consciously interpret them in ways that empower you, in ways that support the achievement of your goals? The way we use our references will determine how we feel, because whether something is good or bad is all based on what you are comparing to. Oprah Winfrey was raped and violently mistreated in her youth, yet she touches millions of lives daily with her television show. We lift ourselves by our thought, we climb upon our own vision of ourselves. Orison Swett Martin. References are not limited to your actual experience. Your imagination itself is a source of references. Remember Roger Bannister and 4-Minute Mile Rule. We need to remember that our imagination is 10 times more potent than our willpower. Imagination unleashed provides us with a sense of certainty and vision that goes far beyond the limitations of the past. Akio Morita Sony story, refused a deal worth 10 times worth of company to sell 100K of his breakthrough transistor radios to Bulova Corporation USA, who wanted their name on the radio. In each of his failed experiment, Edison believed he was getting closer to the solution of electric bulb. You want to learn your mind? You can borrow the references of other people who had succeeded and impacted lives of people in a major way. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Albert Einstein. One of the finest beliefs I developed years ago that helped me to enjoy all of my life experiences was the idea that there are no bad experiences. Repetition is the mother of skill. Hearing the same thing again and again will condition me to use it. Use contrast to put your life in perspective. People have gone through physical and emotional hell and have come out on top. W. Mitchell, Meek Davis drunk and jumped in 2 feet deep water, instantly paralyzed neck and down. Dax, burned and blinded, became a practicing attorney. Share life story to show how life is great. Establish a simple and profound belief: I have no problems. A woman lost her husband in a gas station shooting by criminals. She had 4 small children. Fortunately, she received support from large no of people. She was willing to trust that there must be a reason, even if she is not aware of it, freed her from the most painful experience of her life and empowered her. Limited references create limited life. If you want to expand life, you must expand your references by pursuing ideas and experiences that wouldn't be part of your life if you didn't consciously seek them out. We need to consciously stand guard at the doors of our minds to make sure that whatever we're allowing to enter will cause our lives to be enriched. Expand your references and expand your life. One of the major ways to do this was through the rich experiences the books provide. Leaders are readers. Abraham Lincoln and Ralph Waldo Emerson became my coaches. Take a moment now and write down 5 of the most powerful experiences that have shaped who you've become as a person. Include how it has impacted you. Remember, everything happens for a reason and purpose, and it serves us. In order to succeed at the highest level, to achieve what I really want for my life, what are some of the references I need? Chapter 18, Identity, the Key to Expansion. Nothing great will ever be achieved without great men, and men are great only if they are determined to be so. Charles de Gaulle. Global beliefs have an expanded influence on your life. Belief about people in general will affect the way you deal with everyone. The beliefs about scarcity and abundance will determine your stress level and your generosity of time, money, energy, and spirit. More powerful is the core belief about your identity. It is an ultimate filter to all our perceptions. It directly controls the consistency of your life's decisions. What we can or cannot do, what we consider possible or impossible is rarely a function of our true capability. It is more likely a function of our beliefs about who we are. Identity is a set of beliefs that we use to define our own individuality, what makes us unique, good, bad, or indifferent from other individuals. Your capability is constant, but how much of it you use depends upon the identity you have for yourself. The book Pygmalion in the Classroom details the dramatic change in students' performance when they become convinced that they are gifted. Time and again, researchers have shown that students' capabilities are powerfully impacted by the identities they develop for themselves as a result of teachers' belief in their level of intelligence. In a study, a group of teachers were told that certain students in their classes were truly gifted and to make sure that they challenged them to continue to expand. These students became top achievers in the class. What is interesting is that some of these students were actually poor students. Marva Collins influences her students to believe that they are the masters of their destinies, that they are as talented as any human being who has ever walked on earth. We all will act consistently with our views of who we truly are, whether that view is accurate or not. The Pygmalion effect also works in reverse. If you feel certain that you are learning disabled, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. A person who believes he has developed a drug addiction can change. Conversely, a person who believes he is a drug addict will return to it after weeks of abstinence. For some, surrendering his identity could be even more painful than the destructive effects of the drugs themselves. Why? Because we all have a need for a sense of certainty. Most people have tremendous fear of the unknown. Uncertainty implies the potential of having the pain strike us, and we'd rather deal with the pain we already know about than deal with the pain of the unknown. The biggest challenge for a drug addict is, what does he change his identity to? To a recovering drug addict? When this person develops conviction that he is absolutely clean, that he is good, that's when his behavior changes. As we develop new beliefs about who we are, our behavior will change to support the new identity. The only way to create a lasting change is to change a conviction from "I am a drug addict" to "I am a health nut," anything new that would never even consider use of drugs. If drugs are offered, he would say with absolute certainty, "I am not that kind of person. That's what I used to be." Those with excess weight must transform their identity to a vital, healthy, and athletic human being. In fact, one shift in identity can cause a shift of your entire master system. A drug addict has a completely different system of evaluation than someone who considers himself as a leader, an athlete, or a contributor. Shifting, changing, or expanding identity can produce the most profound and rapid improvements in the quality of your life. How your identity is formed. Subjects were asked to make small commitments first, followed by 2 simple acts which made not volunteering out of character. They began to see themselves as donors. Your identity is limited by your interpretation of your experience. Your identity is nothing but the decisions you've made about who you are. You become the labels you've given yourself. The way you define your identity defines your life. The ultimate pain seeds of an identity crisis. Victor Hugo's masterpiece, Les Miserables story. Who are you anyway? Take a moment to identify who you are. We may define ourselves as our emotions, professions, incomes, titles, roles, behaviors, possessions, feedback, spiritual beliefs, looks, accomplishments, our past. While answering, you need to feel relaxed, safe and curious. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Write down your answer, and then ask again. Each time you ask, write down whatever surfaces, and keep probing deeper and deeper. You may have to go through several stages to get satisfactory answers. You have the power to change your identity in an instant. The power to reinvent yourself. 1. Make a list right now of all the elements of your identity you want to have. Use role models. 2. Consciously decide who you want to be. Describe in detail. Get excited like a kid. 3. Develop a plan of action you could take that would cause you to know that you are truly living consistently with your new identity. 4. The final step is to commit to your new identity by broadcasting it to everyone around you. The most important broadcast, however, is to yourself every single day. The future of your identity. While most people have to establish competence before they feel confident, I decide to feel confident, and that provides the sense of certainty to persist until I am competent. You and I need to expand our view of who we are. We need to make certain that the labels we put on ourselves are not limits but enhancements, that we add all that's already good within us. In order to understand life, you've got to understand death. We are not our bodies. Neither are we our past, nor our behaviors in the moment. We are spiritual beings having human experience. Wayne Dyer. Begin to ask yourself, what more I can be? What more will I be? Who am I becoming now? I will consistently act as a person who is already achieving these goals. I will breathe this way. I will move this way. I will respond to people this way. Forget the past. Who have you decided you really are now? Make this decision consciously. Make it carefully. Make it powerfully. You don't have to make all of the changes we have talked about here in order to transform the quality of your life. If you change any one of the 5 areas, questions, value hierarchies, states, global beliefs, identity, of the system, your life will change. Thank you for watching our audiobook summary of Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. We hope you enjoyed this glimpse into the powerful insights and strategies offered by this amazing book. If you're inspired to learn more, we highly recommend picking up a copy and diving into the full version. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.